Hi there. I'm here to talk with you about the M70 ZPAP scope mount, a proprietary from Zastava. So you might have gotten this in the mail after paying a good amount for it, $100 or so maybe, solid piece of hardware. And you might have said, hey, where are the instructions? Well, Zastava cannot be bothered to provide them, so hopefully this helps you out to understand what your equipment does. So yeah, you have your scope mount up here, you have an auxiliary mount down here. But the question is, well, a number of questions. How do I mount it on the rifle? How do I slide it on? How would I know that it works? What does this lever do? I'll explain that here. So first, just so you know how it mounts, you have this adapter here. The adapter has a recess that you can see over here. So that recess has a sort of hook that goes into it. Pardon the preserving grease that I just got the rifle. You have this recess here where you have a hook from the top of the mount, and that's going to go into here to secure it into place. Then you have a second piece of the adapter down here, and this takes pressure from the bottom part of the mount, which you then set at the end of the process. And that sounds really complicated. It's actually quite simple. Here's the mount. Here is the hook that goes into that top recess that you see here. So when you mount the scope, you're going to, you mount the mount on the adapter, you're going to make sure that that goes in there. The more complicated part is this bottom mechanism. So this is a spring-loaded mechanism, and maybe you can't see it now. Yeah. So the spring-loaded mechanism here is something that you can apply pressure to at the end of the process to hook it into the mount. Now you might be asking, or the adapter rather, and you might be asking yourself, well, what does this lever do? Good question. You can't really see with your naked eye, but there is a little area in the gap here in the middle. So I can get that under some light here. Yeah, there we go. So you see that there's two springs and there's a screw in the middle. And that screw is actually being adjusted by this area down here that I will talk about soon. But when you pull on this lever and move it from left to right, you're actually making a very minute adjustment and lowering, or rather shrinking the gap in that spring-loaded mechanism. And that doesn't seem like much, but when you have a perfect fit on the metal, that extra pressure on the metal is going to keep this in place. So how do I get the perfect fit? Down here is a pressure or gap mechanism that you can use to adjust the space in the gap here. So if you were to screw this towards the plus sign, so counterclockwise, that's going to tighten or reduce the gap in that space. And if you screw clockwise, that's going to widen the gap. Now, some people say, well, why did that? You just tighten it, you just loosen it. It's more complicated than that. What you want to do is when you mount this, you want to have a good enough fit, and I'll show you what it looks like when it mounts correctly, where you hook this top part of the mount into this recess in the adapter, you slide it on, and you should be able to, by hand, pull this all the way forward until this much space is left. The manufacturer states that this is intentionally left. I know because I read it in an obscure forum thread where they commented. More on that another time. But once you slide this on, there should definitely be a little bit of give, and you should be able to pull this off easily. You shouldn't have to force it on. You should just grab this with one hand. Maybe it's on a, just a simple cleaning vise or something. And you pull it as far forward until you get to that point, and then you take the lever here, and you should be able to, just gripping the stock and with your thumb, get the dimple to accept the lever there. And now, as you see, there's no give, really none. This mount is staying put. And you're going to want to keep adjusting the gap and shrinking it until you're at a point where you can just get this on with your thumb, I believe. And correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But again, there's no proprietary information about this proprietary equipment, so I'm just working with what I have and the vague responses from everybody on the internet. But yeah, overall, that's how that works. I know that if you have a mount that comes in loose like mine did, you're going to be able to get this on incredibly easily. You're going to put it on and flip the lever, and you're just going to say, well, that didn't work. It's still wobbling. Am I going crazy? No, you're not going crazy. You just need to shrink the gap here and just do some handiwork until you figure out what that sweet spot is, where you can just flip that lever onto that dimple once you mount this. So let's get that back on. You're going to want to figure this out before you put the scope on it, by the way, because there's going to be a lot of movement. But yeah, that's it. Hope that helps. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll help you out the best I can, but no guarantees because I just got this rifle myself. Thanks.